I think we're on. I think we're gonna start this. So welcome to the CreativityWise webinar about working faster. The way I perceive this, the way I think it's going to work, it's going to be a kind of a casual thing. I'm gonna talk about the topic a little bit, listen to your questions. I'll also have a question that somebody asked me. Daniel sent to me, and I'm going to try and answer that. And we'll go where it go. We'll see where it goes from there. And I think maybe half an hour, or maybe less, maybe more. That's kind of the plan. Working faster. The plan with these webinars, by the way, is going to be that I'm going to try and do these webinars every time I post. Every couple of weeks, I will add a post to CreativityWise, and then you'll be able to we'll be able to do this webinar straight afterwards, and kind of discuss the topic of the post and around it. And this particular one is about working faster because of the last post that I posted is called 10. It's about writing fast, writing your draft fast. I can't remember the exact title right now. Lightning speed draft, something. 10 tips. So if you haven't seen that post, maybe after the webinar you'll want to look into it, especially if you're a writer, but even if you're not, because there's it's about how to, specifically for writing, how to do all sorts of shortcuts that will help you write faster, the draft. But I think if you kind of think creatively, and even if you're like, I don't know, in animation, for example, and you're kind of looking at it, you can kind of derive some of the ideas there into animation, sort of thinking that goes into this fast work process. So we'll have a look if you're into it. Yeah, so story about working faster. I worked in this studio not long ago. Actually, Uri here, which is participating, was working there, so he can confirm this. One of the really fast animators that were there, working fast on that project was required. It was one of the fastest moving projects I've ever been in. And one of the really fast animators was a smoker. He was a heavy smoker. And he used to go out I don't think he even lasted an hour without a cigarette. Like every half an hour, he would just go there and just smoke really fast. Had like these 5 minutes breaks, which he had to take, and he was the fastest, probably the fastest animator around. Maybe there wasn't just one other guy who was close. And you kind of think like, yeah, Daniel, I see you want to check. So you kind of get to wonder, this guy can't work for more than half an hour without getting away from his computer for 5 minutes. How can he be the fastest animator around? And what I was trying to explain to the guys back then is that it's actually helping. No, now please listen, please hear me on that. I'm not saying that you should smoke. You should not smoke. I've been a smoker for a few years, and it was horrible, and you shouldn't do it. But the idea of working in bursts and taking breaks can actually make you a lot faster. And the way it works is that when you get away, when you kind of know that you have like this half an hour to kind of concentrate and do something really fast, and then you're gonna have to leave, that puts some urgency. But even more importantly, when you go out and you do something else for 5 minutes, and hopefully it's not smoking, but you do something else for 5 minutes, you kind of get to think more clearly when you get back. I don't know if you ever noticed that when you get back from the break, you kind of see your work a little bit more clearly. Sometimes you go like, okay, I went too far with that. And I have this story also when I did I tried to model a character once, and it was supposed to be a really simple character, but like I got carried away with it, and I worked for 4 hours straight, got completely carried away with it, and went completely um, berserk with details and stuff like that that I didn't want to do, just because I got carried away with it, and I didn't notice what I was even doing until I had to take a break, like 5 hours later. Then I came back and I was like, okay, 4 hours of my life just went a boo-boo, because I didn't take this small break before. So when you take these small breaks, you see your process, you see your work more clearly. You get to think a little bit about some ideas that you're gonna try. You get to plan a little bit what the next half an hour, the next hour that you're going to do, and it's really a very fast working process. And it's kind of counterintuitive that when you take more breaks, you're gonna work faster. But it is true. It works. Works for me. Works for that other guy, and it's a pretty good tip for working faster. The next thing I'm gonna do here is answer the question that came by mail. Oh, it's really distracting because I can see questions and stuff happening here, and it takes away from. I need to learn how to not get distracted. This is a learning process, the whole webinar thing. So I'm sorry if this is coming out a little bit more confused. It's going to be probably less confused in a few times. Yeah, so I'm gonna say this again. Daniel asked if when he gets into the whole animation, the whole starting process, the blocking process, and all that, how to make it faster, because he really wants to get to the actual animation already, and the planning process kind of gets stuck and takes longer than he would like to, and he's asking about that. So here's the answer. My answer, at least, the way I work, the way I know other people work, is that you shouldn't. First of all, you have to respect that process. I think this is like the key. I think it's kind of. I know the feeling. I totally understand the feeling of wanting to get there to start the actual work that's going to be on screen. But it does take time for the planning, and it should take time. And in my experience, if you take it, if you kind of accept that, it becomes less painful. It becomes actually fun. You can think about it this way: instead of you're already there and you're trying to completely to your own stage. Before you're on stage and you're actually doing the frames that are going to be on film, it's kind of fun. If you take it in a fun way, it's kind of fun to play around and to kind of not commit too soon, and kind of take the time with that. And when you're starting out, when I started out, it was like you say, it's a frustrating thing. Like why do I have to go through that? But now I kind of embrace that. I don't have to work. I can play, and like if I have 40 hours to do a piece of storyboard, I know that about a quarter of that, and a quarter is by the way a good rule of the thumb. A quarter, maybe a third of the time should go into the planning stage and the preparation stage, and even before blocking, like just the ideas and the thinking. And so I have 40 hours, and I know that a quarter of this, which is kind of 8 to 10 hours, is going to be just for thinking and playing around, and that kind of relieves the pressure. Like, oh, instead of going like, oh, I need to solve the storyboard, but I need to start drawing because I have this deadline, but oh my God, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'll try to kind of really quickly do the thing and have it not take too much, do the planning and have it not take too much time, and then it's frustrating. But if you say, okay, I have a plan, and the plan is that 10 hours out of the thing, I'm going to just play around and not draw anything. I'm going to build the thing in 3D, which I'm doing, by the way. This is real. I'm going to build the thing in 3D just from boxes. I'm going to move around with the camera, and I'm going to just doodle stupid stuff on paper. I was just looking to see if I can find the paper. Yeah. Stuff like this. Hope you can see this. Yeah. Nobody can understand anything, but it's just doodling. And I do that in animation as well. I would just type, so I have 40 minutes to animate. I'm going to take 10 hours to just, play around. And I have no problem with that. So, and then you say, so, but I want to work faster. So now you're telling me that I should take 10 hours out of 40 to not work. So how is that faster? Well, it is faster. You have to kind of try it a few times to believe it, but it is faster. And the way it works is, in the end, because you've played around with it, after these 10 hours, this is just an example, of course, 10 hours, after this quarter of the time that you were just playing around with the stuff, you feel so convenient with it. You feel so familiar with it. This is the exploring process I'm talking about in several places on CreativityWise. You feel so convenient with it, so familiar, and so you're so confident when you start working that the work itself, these 3/4, 75% of the time that you have left, is so much more efficient that it completely covers for the 10 for the quarter that you spent planning and thinking and kind of being relaxed. It really works that way. And I even remember when I started out, and the best animators in the best animator in the studio, he was just walking around like half the time. He was just walking around, chatting with people, and just doodling stuff and not really doing any work. So I thought, and I was like, I was drawing, and failing, and tossing papers and tearing them up, and getting really frustrated, and going out and having a smoke, really, really hating everything that I do. And this guy was just walking around, and then, then after like half the time he was strolling around, he just sat there and he just did it like this. I was like, how does he do that? Well, that's how he did it. He spent half the time. Well, half is too much, but he did spend half the time just taking it easy and just kind of letting it happen. It is faster in the end. So try it and see if it works for you. So, but I'm gonna have to add this word of warning here, which is it's also possible to overdo it, and sometimes I have known, I've done it myself. I've seen other people do it. When I was directing, managing people, I would try and help people snap out of it, which is that you go the other way and you get so hooked on the actual process of playing around, and all of a sudden it becomes frightening to just get out of there and start the actual work. Now, if you have a really good vision, it usually doesn't happen. If you really did it well and you have a good vision and you like dying to do it and you feel really confident, but if you're not really there yet, well, it can be pretty frightening to get to go to the next step, and then you see people kind of dragging the play around process. This instead of quarter, it becomes quarter of the time. 25% it becomes like half the time or more than half the time, and that becomes a problem in itself. And then it's not faster. So you really should kind of create a plan. Go. This is my 10 hours out of 40 that I'm going to do this playing around and fooling around and not being committed to anything. And then by that time, I need to be committed and to start working for real. And while I'm on the subject, maybe I should say something about the whole idea of planning. And I wonder if I can venture here into a share screen dangerous operation. Okay. This is an Excel sheet, which you probably don't like to see. It's not sexy, but it is part of what makes my work faster. And every time I don't do this, I suffer and I work more slowly. What you see here is basically this is just one of my systems. It kind of changes, and I'm going to do a separate post for that. But just really briefly, this is how I plan things out. So this is Friday, first half of the day, second half of the day, and so on. So this is yesterday, as you can see, Wednesday, right? So you have first part of the day, second half of the day. So every half a day, I know exactly what I'm about to do, and I also know so I can also the numbers here are short numbers. So hello. So knowing exactly what I'm going to do every half day really gives me this really good framework of concentration, and it's kind of when you know. I call these micro deadlines. I have a deadline every half a day or every day. Usually, this is how I work. I have a deadline, my own deadline, which I'm trying to meet every few hours. And when I directed, for example, this last production that I was talking about before, which was really fast, everybody worked with micro deadlines, and that's what allowed us to be really efficient and work very, very fast and just concentrate on exactly the stuff that needed to be there, because it was very easy to just kind of go, to lose the sense of time and really spoil the whole thing. So these micro deadlines, I'm using them all the time in productions that I manage and for myself as well. So try that. Instead of, if you have like a week of work, don't work for a week on anything. Work in chunks of 2-3 hours and have a really good plan. Like, I'm going to do the blocking of this thing within the 3 hours here, and take these small breaks as well to help you kind of keep your focus. There's a post I wrote. It's in CreativityWise.com. It's called. You can use the search box and look for the 2 hours rule. If you haven't seen that, it connects nicely to what we're talking about here. Working in bursts, being really efficient, and really not doing anything. First of all, having a title to everything you do. Like, I'm not doing the shot. if you're talking about animation. Well, let's talk about writing a little bit, just to variate a little bit. I'm not writing the chapter. The chapter is going to take me, I don't know, a week to complete. I'm not doing anything that takes a week. I'm doing something that takes 2 hours. So maybe my task for this coming 2 hours is to do an outline of the chapter, and um, later on maybe I'll have a task of doing the first. I have 2 hours to block out to draft the first headline, the first line in the outline, and then I have another 2 hours for the next one, and then after I'm done with that, I have 2 hours to refine the first headline, then 2 hours to refine the next one, and so on and so forth. The idea is really to have a title for every little chunk of work that you're doing, and that's again really, really helpful for working faster. So I hope, Daniel, I hope this is helpful. I hope you got a few ideas out of that. If not, um, you can type in some follow-up question. I'll be happy to answer. And Uri, I see that you've started writing something. I hope this is not too early to ask this, but there was no continuation. So I don't know if you still want to ask a question. I'm gonna, since there's this delay. I'm going to wait a little bit to see what you guys want to tell me, and yeah. So let's see if I've. Okay, I see it. Okay, I missed this. What are the most optimal settings to make you work fast? Physical, mental, etc. Well, I didn't see the question, but I think a lot of what I said in the webinar is really the end. Gives you a lot of the answer for that. So to sum it up, I try to really plan the thing in chunks. This is part of it. Physically, I'm trying to be energetic. Like this is actually a really good question about the mental and physical. I find that when I start working, like when I come to my desk, and I'm starting to work. If it's like coffee, okay, yeah, let's open it and let's see what happens here. That would really tint the whole. That will really paint the whole work day almost in a kind of a tired mood, and it's gonna slow me down. But if I wrote another post I had a while ago, 7 tips for enjoying your work day every day, your creative work every day. And the first tip there was walk to work. Even if you're a freelancer, like right now I'm a freelancer, right? But I do every morning. I walk out the door and I do a walk around the block, and it helps that it's really nice outside with this fall colors of the trees and everything here in Vancouver. So I walk around for like 10 minutes, and I energize myself, and I think about the work. Okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I kind of imagine the drawings that I'm going to draw, and when I get back, it's really not in the same okay, let's start working, but it's like, okay, all right, whew, I have so many ideas, I want to start doing this. And with if you if you do this in combination with these 2 hours micro or 1 hour sometimes micro deadlines that I was talking about before, it's really kind of work, and it's more fun that way. By the way, like I'm not talking about, oh, I'm all stressed out because I need to do the deadline. No, I'm energized, and I'm efficient. I'm on top of it. Very, very helpful and very strong advice, I think. Works for me every time. And also, like, I used to do running, which I sadly don't anymore. I really want to take that on, take that back on, um, because that was also really, really good to be physically, like, if you start the day with a run, and then you kind of come back, take a shower, and you feel physically energized. Also, the walking around makes you feel mainly mentally energized. There's a little bit of physical thing in it as well, because you're working down, the blood was circulating, and it does help. But if you're doing a real sport like running, that's even better, in my experience. Um, so um, so um, so yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. It was kind of fun, and I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna send you off with a few things about CreativityWise, what we're gonna do from here on. So first of all, I'm going to do these posts every 2 weeks, and every time there's a post, there's going to be a webinar like that. And hopefully, the next webinars are going to be more focused, not less confused with all the technical issues and stuff like that. And maybe I'll scratch my nose a little bit less. And other than that, I'm working on a 1 hour video. It's called The Street Smarts of Creativity, 4 Breakthroughs in 60 Minutes. That's the title, a really long title. It's a great video. It's going to be really, really awesome. It's based on a lecture I did live many times. Got good responses on it. Really, it gives you the nuts and bolts of the creative process, like, really fast, and showing you, like, these 4 major solutions to real problems that we all as artists experience every day, usually. That's gonna happen real soon, like in a few days. So stay tuned, and you'll see it in the email, of course, if you're a member. And also, if you like the kind of stuff that we do on CreativityWise, if you're enjoying the posts, first of all, I'd like to hear about it. If you have any thoughts, or if you just want to say, hey, I enjoyed it, that would be great. Really helpful. And also, don't forget to share if you have something that you thought, like, yeah, that was really helpful for me. Like, for example, if you got some ideas, some cool ideas from this webinar, this is going to be on the site as well. It's going to be recorded on YouTube, and I'm going to post this. So if you want to share this with your friends, go ahead and do that, and they will enjoy the content, and maybe they'll want to join us as members in CreativityWise, and that would be great. And other than that, thank you very much. This was great fun, and we'll do that again. Cheers.